Hey everyone, Andrew Chelman here with the third video in my Getting Started series for the Maschine hardware. Now in the last video, as a quick recap, we talked about how to get started with recording some patterns. Now when I thought about what direction to go with in this next video, I figured I could do either just some technical things, but they may not be too useful for someone who's just trying to make music with Maschine. So what I thought is I might as well go along with an idea on how to move your track from a series of loops that recorded in the last video to something a little bit more developed. So that's going to be the overall theme of this video, is taking those loops that we know how to record now and then doing some things with them, editing them, and developing them into the building blocks of a finalized track. So with that said, the first thing that I want to do, sort of the first point in this video, is how to record some patterns with instruments. If you recall in the last video, I talked about recording with the groups, so that's the 16 sounds. So I did that with my drums, and I did that with my sample, which I now have a guitar sample here. And then now I want to go ahead and work with an individual sound slot, but record some patterns with different notes. So it's very similar to the process that we did before. The only difference is that I'm going to go ahead and enter into keyboard mode by pressing the shift button and the pad mode button up there. And so now our pads, instead of playing 16 different sounds, are going to play 16 different notes on that same sound slot. So it sounds like this. And the nice thing is you can change what notes these pads correspond to. So you can hold the button here and then change your octave, and you can also change the semitone up and down. The nice thing is it'll show you what notes the pads actually correspond to. So for me, I want to play like this. So now that I have my keyboard mode set to where I want it to be, I can go ahead and figure out the notes that I want to play. Now I've already done that. It's going to sound something like this. Just a little bass line there, and I'm going to go ahead and create my pattern, just doing the same thing we did before, pressing the pattern button, the first empty pad down here, then I will make this 4 bars to match. So there we go. And now with that set, I can do the same count in by pressing the shift button and the record button, and then go ahead and record just like we used to. So here we go. Okay, so there we go. We just have a new pattern recorded. It's a nice idea if you're in the mode of recording one sound to go ahead and create a new pattern and then just do a similar pattern, maybe a little bit different, but then you'll just have those 2 different patterns to choose from. So that'll help you add variety when it comes time to arrange. So I'll do that real quickly. Okay, so it doesn't take very long, but it's a nice thing to have if you end up using it. So there we go. That covers the basic process of recording a pattern for your notes using the keyboard mode here. And with that out of the way, go ahead and exit this and go ahead and continue developing my project. So like I said, what we want to do is take our loops that we already have and start developing those into some more sort of fundamental building blocks for our track. So a nice feature that I like to use a lot is the pattern duplicate feature in Maschine. Now what this is going to do is allow me to take my original pattern and then copy it to a new slot and then make changes to that. The nice thing is if I delete any notes or if I add anything, I can always refer back to the original copy and I won't lose my hard work. So I'll go ahead and do that just by holding the pattern button here. Then I'm going to hold the duplicate button, press the pattern I want to duplicate, and then press an empty slot. And now this is an exact copy of my first pattern. So I'm going to go ahead and mute my other groups here. So now we have sort of a place to work from. We can make edits to here and not worry about having any losses from our original project. So I'm going to go ahead and thinking about it, I want to cut down this pattern a little bit. My original pattern has a lot of notes playing a lot of different samples, so I think I can take some of those out and create a sort of stripped down version that will help me add some variety. Maybe I can use this in a verse section and then have the more developed pattern coming in for the chorus. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and take out some of these notes. Now a nice way to do this in Maschine is by using this select button here. So if I press this, I'm going to make sure I have the events button toggled, the top screen here. Now what this will do is allow me to select the notes that correspond to one of these pads. So for instance, if I select my symbol pad up here, this is the pad that plays the symbol. Now if I select that with this events menu up here, this is going to highlight all of the notes that I have playing for this pad here. So I'm going to select all of them for my symbol as well as my shaker. Now when I exit that, and to delete these notes, all I have to do is press Shift and then pad 9, and that's going to delete the notes that we had highlighted. And just like that, we can take out selective elements of our pattern. So if you want to hear the difference, and there we go, we have two different patterns that we can use when it comes time to start arranging our project. So that is a nice little thing to keep in mind. I really do that a lot, is just duplicating my pattern and then making some slight changes to it. It's a nice thing to get comfortable with and really streamlines the process so you don't have to record everything from scratch again. So just like we did that, I'm going to use the same feature to make another pattern for my sample group here. So if I mute this, what I want to do is go ahead and duplicate this again. So I'm going to move it over there. If you have one like I did, it's just going to overwrite that. So, and what I'm going to do here is delete some of these notes. And there's another way to do it in real time. In the way I just did with the drums, that's a way to do it just by selecting them and deleting them. But you can also delete notes as it's playing back in real time. And you can do that with this erase button here. Now, if you hold this down while the track is playing back, and then press any of the pads, it will delete the note of that pad at the time you have it held back. So that's a lot to say, but if I just do it in an example here. So originally I had some notes on this pad here, but now since I held the erase button down and that pad down when the note was playing, it's going to be gone now. I'm going to undo that. And a nice thing you can do is also use the erase button and erase the notes of the whole group. So likewise, if I hold this erase button and the group button, that's going to delete any note playing in any of the 16 pads that is inside that group. So if I hold the erase button down and press my group C, it's going to delete those notes whether or not they play on one of the individual pads. It's a little bit confusing, but hopefully if I do this, you can see what happens. So what I want to do is only have the sequence play like this, and then take out this note here. So I can do that by holding the erase button and then my group C button while it's playing back. So let's see if I can do this. And now you don't hear it the first time around, but if I play it back, okay, so I got one more than I wanted to, but if I undo that and then try it again, that will give me what I want. So that's just a nice way to delete the notes in real time. So like I said, in a quick little overview here, by holding the erase button, you can delete notes that correspond to a single pad or any notes within the group. So it's a little bit confusing, like I said, to explain this in words, but just go ahead and load up a pattern and then play around with that erase button while the track is playing back, and you'll understand what it does and how to use it effectively. So overall in this video, I just wanted to give some ideas on how to take your patterns, edit them, and start developing them into more fundamental blocks for your track. It's a nice process to be comfortable with, because for me especially, getting used to Maschine, one of the hardest parts was learning how to take your loops and develop them to something that doesn't sound just like a quick little groove idea. So this is something that you'll get with time. I just wanted to give you the basics in this video. So hopefully this has been helpful. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll be checking those once in a while. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.